Tommy, are you here? Or Tommy, everyone? You guys on that? Tommy's done a fabulous job. I think by launching on new social media platforms, etc., we really have increased engagement with members. I think it's one of the factors that led to our membership increase. As people remember, last board meeting we did a major revision of the bylaws, 30 major changes, including new coaching chair. Katie Adams is here. Katie has served as our coaching chair for that time period, has done a really great job. We revised our budgeting and grant process. We've hosted a series of national championships, cross-country, mutt, race walking. We've added a number of new events. The relay championships in its second year and almost tripled this year, so which is fantastic. It actually made us some money, we think. So that was a positive. We did start a great indoor track point series. Jeff, our track chair, led the charge on that, which was great. We re-energized the ATR series. Last year, I think we had 11 people do ATR and we paid out $5,000. So I guess we all should have done ATR last year. But this year we're doing ATR with really a participation focus rather than a cash prize focus, where you win really nice merchandise if you make it through the series. I'm barely alive, but I have done 4 of them. The results are there, but we have 55, 60 people or so doing it this year, which is great. We started a partnership with the NIRCA. Tommy has led the charge on that. That is an organization basically running clubs for colleges. So we expect a big group of them at our Whalen cross-country meet, and then possibly some at our national championship. We had a bunch at the first meet, at a number of schools at our first meet, cross-country Grand Prix meet at Elbank a couple weeks ago. So that's been a real positive. I think we had 30 or 40 members from that organization at the meet, which is 20% plus to that meet, which is great. Coaching education, I mentioned, Katie, we've really increased the number of level 1 schools. We'll talk about level 2 schools here in a second. And then one of the most exciting tasks, I know this was, Steve, your favorite task, we did renovate the USATF office, which I believe was renovated during, had never been renovated probably. So it was worth doing. And then last but not least, I think everyone here should feel good. Membership crossed the 6,000 member barrier, and that's the first time since the 100th Boston Marathon we did that. So it's pretty exciting. I would say the one thing to note is that there was a lot of ideas and a lot of accomplishments not on this page. I would say 99% of what we did were ideas of other people. They were not my ideas. I just happen to be the lucky guy who gets to go through what this board did. But the work that Alex did in youth, and Lori did in officials, and Jen and team did in really, and Scott, and turbocharging the Grand Prix, etc. They led the charge. What we did, though, is I think we had a board that worked really well together with new ideas, trying things out. Some of them didn't work, most of them did work. And I think that was really exciting. It was a really great board. So I do think we have a lot of goals to accomplish. I have 3 here. It's really the next board's work to really focus on it. But there are 3 things here that I look at that I wish we could have done a little bit more on in the last 2 years. First, one of the things is we had an ambitious goal for sponsorships. We didn't hit it. We have a number of new sponsors, but we just didn't hit the numbers we needed. I think as we've looked at and restructured the marketing coordinator position to, from a 30-hour-week position to kind of a 10-hour-week position, I do think we have an opportunity maybe to bring someone in more on a commission basis to really go after that. I think there's an opportunity there. It's one of the things the next board will focus on. The level 2 coaching school was one of my goals that I hope we brought. I can tell you I've put in a lot of time. I have visited and contacted with Katie here 25, 30 sites in New England. I know a lot about dorms of colleges in this area. One of the things I did not think I would know, we do, it's very exciting, we do have a bid in for the 2019 coaching school. It's never been held north of Philadelphia for whatever reason. We've really, Salem State's been great to work with. One of the downsides is Salem State discontinued its track team. So I think they'd like to be in a place with a track and with a track team. We have great access to facilities that don't have a track, although there's a track about a mile away. That is the weakness of our bid. Everything else is really fantastic. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Probably the big thing that we spent time on talking about as a board this year is really around national issues. I put down IT. We know we had the Lanata issue. We could spend this meeting and 3 others talking about the national office. And so one of the things, and a number of us here are very active with national, Lori being one, spent a lot of time there. One of the things that we can't fix the IT issues. Steve has done an amazing job working with them to try to work around on things like sanctions and memberships and stuff. And so Steve absorbed a lot of that. So I thank him for it. But one of the things, and I had announced this to the board, I am running for a national position, would not require me to leave this position, but I am running for the board seat that represents associations, advanced track and field. It's called the general competition board seat. And so I'm a believer that, if you're just sitting there complaining in the peanut gallery, if nothing changes, you shouldn't be surprised. So I'm going to at least throw my hat in the ring to at least define the issues I think we need to take the sport forward. So more to that to come. I'm working, by the end of next week I have to turn in my my paperwork for that. So, but I think we do need people in this room, people who go to the national meeting to get involved, because I think the national office is resource constrained, and I just don't think understands what's in the trenches. And one of the great things about ATR this year and all the other things, people know I'm a coach, people know I have this job, people know I'm an official. I've now competed in, over the last year, track, road, mountain, trail. We'll be doing cross country soon. So I feel like I'm touching all the things of the sport, so hopefully I'll be able to represent that at the annual meeting going forward. So I think, we focused a lot on member growth, and one of the other things I think we still need to accomplish is member growth. We've grown, and I guess our 6,000 members now, maybe we're bleeding into the serious, but I do think there's a lot of growth opportunities. I still think this is a Boston-centric association. Most of our meets are in the Boston area. We try to put them in places that are really accessible, like Holy Cross, and Pittsburgh, but we, at the ATR series, has races in most of the states of our association except for Vermont. So we're really thinking about that, and that's one thing we have to tackle. The recent college grads and the NIRCA are another big opportunity. It's a pool that Tom has talked about a lot, and I think it's true. And event quality, I see Jim Garcia around here someplace, something he talked about all the time. I think we've done a good job on that, trying to improve it. I think that's really an opportunity. I mean, one of the things that's interesting, I like to go to lots of different types of sporting events. The bar gets raised. If you go to an NFL game and you have an experience, or you go to any sporting event and you have an experience, right? That's the bar for our sport as well. And so I do think there's things that we can do. We've had a big period of change. I do think we have an opportunity here to focus on events as well. So one of the things that I did in our last board meeting was thank the board. And again, I think our progress has only worked because we've had 19 really smart, dedicated people. All of us are in this room because we love the sport. We love the sport. It's not because we're making a lot of money off the sport. As a matter of fact, most of us probably take a big loss every year. But we know how the sport changes people's lives, right? From things that Joe does at Waltham for the youth. You can just see it in those kids and how their lives are being changed, and you can see it all the way up to Masters. And how exciting. I love officiating the Masters meetings. I just think it's exciting. And so You know, I want to thank the board member. Tom has served, I was trying to add it up. I think Tom's been on the board 12, 14 years. Been one of the things I said at the last board meeting is, you know, Tom and I agree violently on 80% of things and not violently on 20% of things. But it's those 20% of things that we've disagreed on that I've appreciated, because it's helped me either strengthen my view or change my view. And I think Tom's done a lot to push the organization forward. Sean's not here. Sean, who knows, he's probably DJing something, but he DJs our relay meets. He's done a lot. He really helped when we hired Sarah May to get her in that job. Amanda, who's not here, is now moved to Long Island. They're spending a lot of time in Long Island. I ran against Amanda 2 years ago to people, and I just so people know, we had a great partnership for 2 years. You know, the first thing I did was we got to work together. She's been great. Jen, as I said at the last meeting, her husband almost killed me at the New Hampshire 10 miler, but I did survive. I will tell you that is a gold standard of how an event should be run. It was such a great job. Jen's been spectacular on this board as an athletes rep and doing women's LDR, and so we're going to miss her, and I've already begun recruiting her back. Gordon's not here. He did a great job with Masters LDR. For those who are here, that's a position I still don't think we have any nominations for. He did a great job. Has had some interesting ideas on how to grow the organization, which we're going to miss. And Sasha, I saw Sasha. Where'd you go? There you are. So, did a great job as an athletes rep. Has some other exciting things going forward, and we're going to miss her. So let me stop there. I know we're supposed to stick to Robert's rules of order and all these things, but I did want to just stop there and see if there were any questions for me about where things are. Great. So what I'd like to do now is turn it over to Stephen to talk about treasury report.
Hello everybody. I have reports on the table, the 2 pages. We use the same format for probably 6 or 7 years. So a financial statement is a little bit different than what I show the board every month. At the board meetings, I just print something out of QuickBooks. Here I take a lot of time to rearrange things, and the way I feel is a little better. But I just don't have the time to do that every month. So not much has changed, which is a good thing. The key numbers are our balance sheet is back up over $500,000. Not that we need that much money by any means, but it's just a big round number. We were down to $490 last year and over $510 2 years ago, so we're just riding steady. We had a deficit, excluding any income from stockings, of $22,000 this past year, which is good. I sort of projected around $28,000 last year, and I think the reason we weren't so much in the hole is because we were short on doing grant awards. We've got a program out there, so we're having a hard time getting people to submit proposals. And the reason we're running at that negative is because we decided to take on a new employee. So for the last 12 months, that employee worked about 9 of those months. So, numbers might have been a little worse if we had paid the salary for those 3 months. And I project that amount, $29,000, is sort of where we're looking to run in the future, which at this point is stable. If we don't hire a new employee, or a part-time employee, then we'll go back to probably a zero, net zero operational deficit. People talked about, membership has been pretty steady. Dollars are down just a little this year, but I think next year we'll have a bump. We have multi-year membership to deal with, and things sort of go up and down in a different fashion than the actual numbers. And the numbers are looking very good. So I handle here something that I don't do that much. The programs we run, all our track meets, mostly track meets, because, then we have the expenses for cross-country and mountain ultra trail, which not as much on the income side there. But consolidate all that. Entry fees coming in and just paying on the outside, or going out, paying officials, renting tracks, getting athletic trainers there. Our net for the year, we actually gained $3,000. That's an area where we probably want to be sort of zero base. We don't need to make money there because we have enough money coming in from memberships and sanctions to pay for the office. That's been steady. Lost $9,000 in 2016. Gained $11,000 in 2016, lost $9,000 in 2017, gained $3,000. So I think part of that means we're doing a good job on projecting entry fees for the meet. And a lot of that's used, and we charge very low entry fees compared to a lot of other people because we're trying to get attract new athletes. I've put some numbers on our balance sheet, or on our Vanguard portfolio. As of August 31st, we have $356,000 at Vanguard. Only $240,000 of that is in stock because we basically, our policy is to be 45% invested. Take $500,000, multiply it by 45%, you get around 225. So between 225 and 250, every time we get to 250, sort of take profits. We're forced to sell a little bit of stock, and that goes into a short-term bond fund, the other 2%. So our return for the past 12 months on the full package was 14.5%. So that basically matches our operating loss. Is why we, even though we're spending money, have 1.5 employees, we're breaking even. So that's about it there. I had some recommendations, and my first recommendation, I'm completely on the same page with Chris. And actually, last year in my report, I wrote, unfortunately, USATF are going backwards, not forward, on processing technical issues. And this year, we sort of saw that happen in spades, and things really fell apart. I could see that coming a couple of years ago. It probably affected our membership growth a little bit because everybody had to call the national or Steve to renew the membership for about 6 weeks. And I'm hoping it's not causing that much bad will because long term that's an issue. But the fact that Chris is very well aware of it and hoping to do something about it, I think helps us as much as the national. We do have one cost coming up in the future. We have state sport. Steve might go into that, but that's going to add cost for us at all of our events. And we've been talking at length about increasing entry fees, and that's sort of mostly in Steve's ballpark side on the youth events. We up it by $1 or $2 to cover those costs. Otherwise we'll start running more of a deficit. So yeah, I definitely hope you can pick up a copy of the report, some more detailed than everything I've covered here.
Yeah, any questions for Stephen?
Ron?
Yeah, under program income, if somebody gets advertising at one of our championships or sponsorship, is there any of that in program income, or is that basically entry fees and sanctions?
That is not, because it's broken out, that's not included in the program. Yeah, so
basically, we have, no one who wants to advertise
Correct.
or be a sponsor, the total for the year was $250?
Yeah, I meant, actually, this pertains to you. I'll just read this other two-sentence paragraph I put on the report. We made about $6,000 from T-shirt sales the last 2 years, and should work to maintain that. Note that we bring in next to nothing in contributions and sponsorships, so these are opportunities available.
Right.
Yeah, so we're doing this with all on our own.
Yeah, because I kind of anticipated that the answer you gave was good. So my question is, let's say I have somebody that might be interested, or we have the good doctor here from Brigham and Women's and whatever, and let's say they want to get a sponsorship or advertising. Do we have any kind of document that I can hand to somebody, if you do this at one of our events, or if you do this for our organization, this is what we'll do for you?
We did by event. We don't have one that someone says, okay, you're the sponsor for the whole year. We did
So does that mean, when you said there's a document, or you
Yeah,
call...
it was essentially PowerPoint slides.
Okay, no, because I know when...
I don't think they were very good.
No, because I know when I raised money for some of my major, we just had an event in Rhode Island for 5,000 cross-country kids.
Yeah.
And basically, you want to be the title sponsor.
Yep.
You want to give this.
That exists.
Because if there's those documents, that certainly helps us when we want to approach people. And not only that, it makes a very good
Yeah, they need
presentation.
to be a little bit more professional, and we need to be more pushing it. We did very well on stuff. We got a lot of stuff at these,
Right.
Unpack or free this or free that. Unpack gave us some money, not this year, but last year. So, and those documents, Sean and Amanda actually spent a lot of time with Sarah working on it.
Yeah.
This is where, that's why I put number one on my list of things we got to work on.
Yeah.
They exist, they're okay, but they obviously did not get people to write big checks, so you got to work on it. Anything else? Great, thank you, and thanks to Stephen. Being treasurer is a thankless job, so and he's done it for 8 years, so.
Following Robert's Rules of Order's motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, thank you. Okay, Managing Director report.
I'll be covering a couple of things that Stephen and Chris have already brought up. The membership that we have this year at 6,100 plus is the largest since '96, when the Boston Marathon required all competitors to be members of the USATF. That also was a requirement for New York City and a couple of other races. And after that, they pulled their requirement and lost a lot of long distance runners who really weren't involved in anywhere else, but we moved back up to 6,000 plus, making us either number 3 or 4 in the country. Memberships nationally aren't growing the way were expected from the national organization for a number of reasons, but one of them is the competitive end tends to be shrinking. That even though we're up over we're on target to get 600 plus sanctions again, there are a lot of events that simply aren't as competitive as they were, and numbers in events, either via mega events or some of the smaller ones are dropping. There's no shortage of events. I'm driving from the office over to the meeting today. There was a Jimmy Fund walk, there was a 5K around Chestnut Hill Reservoir, and there was an event at DC. So within a mile, there were 3 events where people were in bid numbers. But it's more those who are completing versus those who are competing. On the treasurer's end, there are several associations of the 57 around the country that are insolvent. They can't produce a bank balance. There are a lot that are under $50,000, and that's the end of the year, and it gets eaten up, and it's only replenished when they get their memberships for the next year. So Pacific Association, which is out in the northern half of California, has a similar type surplus and works with that. But other than that, there are a lot of associations that are marginally functional on their financial. We mentioned the employee, Sarah, had pointed us in a few new directions, gave us some new ideas to work with. Tommy's been picking up that slack since June, July, doing social media stuff, writing some stories as well for the website, and I'll say it gives a refreshing perspective of a younger and college student on the organization and on the events we do. So that's fortunately we've had a few new people on board who are coming on the younger end of the spectrum, and I think that's changed our directions on a few different events we've worked at. You know, we put on a lot of series. We put on most of our championships that are non-road championships. We put on ourselves, which is can be a rarity. My report.
I've got 3 fellow committee members who have helped me a great deal over the past 2 years. One is Amanda Wright, who's not here. One is Sasha Mundell and Jen Mortimer. Thank you very much for the help. They are awesome in awarding this money. Thank you so much. I'm going to miss you. We've given away about $3,500. We've awarded about $3,500 in the last 12 months. Most of that has been travel money, and most of it has been to youth clubs. Youth clubs from Lowell to Cape Cod, out to Providence. Okay, so we get the balance of the money has gone to some individual travel, some open athletes earned some travel money. We've got a lot more money to give. We got more money to give away. We'd like to give money away for programs. We have a program grant opportunity for anybody who wants to put on programs, start a clinic or a new race or help with a cross-country meet or anything that's program related. And we have very few applications for those program grants. Okay, most of our grants are going to travel to national competitions. And so please, if you're a member of a youth club, and we've had a few of these applications, and I'm glad to see them, is a youth club with some disadvantaged youth who need some help to get to nationals or some big meets or races across the country. Please get in contact with me. We have money to help, okay? So we don't want to see kids not be able to travel because of money. We have money to do this for them, okay? We have 3 deadlines during the year. One is December 15th, one is April 15th, and one is August 15th. And so if we give away money for travel and programs. We gave some money away, awarded some money for the Mario Baker Awards, and those were coming at $500 allotments. And so we had a couple of awardees for the Mario Baker Award this year too. So if you have any questions about the availability of grants, there's a lot of information on our website. You can call me. My phone number is on the website, or pull me aside at the end of this meeting, and I'm glad to help. Okay? Thank you very much.
And thanks to the committee. Again, grants was one of the things we really spent a lot of time really thinking about and reinvigorating. We'd like to give away more money. I recognize many of the clubs here don't apply because their clubs are well off, right? They have a lot of members, and but I think there's a lot of opportunity still in the grants. Mike, Jen, Sasha, and Amanda really have done a phenomenal job. So that's great. So let me go through the agenda here next. We will try to follow Robert's Rules of Order. I think they're more like Bobby's Rules of Order when I do it, but I get pretty close. And Ron's there to correct me when I screw up. We do not have any unfinished business from our last annual meeting. So I would like to move to new business. Is there any new business that people here today would like to bring forward? Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay, so let's move, and again, we obviously have this formal session. For those, throughout the year, besides, I get weekly complaints about the national office, so feel free to send those to me. I get those all the time. But, I've had lots of emails from people, talking about how we pick athlete of the month, how we can do more for women, how we can do more for underrepresented athletes. Just call me or send me those questions, right? Sometimes those questions are better done not in a big group, but in a small group. I think we listen, and every question is a good question, so we try to move forward. So so I want to move now to elections. Let me tell you how we want to try to tackle elections today. We have a series of positions. Every position is up. We have a series of positions that have the exact number. So, for example, position X has one of those. We have one person up, etc. We also have some positions that have nobody up for those holes, and we have right now, we believe we're going to have a couple positions that will require a vote. So this is how I am proposing to run today's session, which I think is a fair and efficient way. As you know, I'm always staring at the clock, trying to get you out on time. What I want to do is I'm going to read everybody who has self-nominated. I'm going to ask for a motion to accept those self-nominations in a second and then get those onto the ballot. Then I'm going to ask for any additional nominations for those positions. Once we have that, we're going to do a series of votes. We're going to do a vote for any position that has the same number of nominees as slots. We're going to do that by acclamation and get those out of the way. Then we will hold a vote for the people. We will then hear speeches, and I will define speech as 2 minutes or less. Tom had a stopwatch 2 years ago. I will not have a stopwatch, but I will be staring at the clock. So 2 minutes for those contested positions. We will have a vote, ballots will hand out. We will do all those contested votes. While those are being counted up, we will have Rebecca do a very interesting, Rebecca Breslow from the Brigham, do a very interesting presentation on sports medicine, which is going to be educational, but will also, in the past we've had kind of a time gap as we've been counting ballots, so we will have something good going on. And then if there are any positions that are unfilled, I will then come back and take nominations. The purpose of that is for unfilled positions, maybe the people who lost the elections for their other position might want to run for those unfilled positions, and I want to give them that opportunity. They may not want to, but I want to at least give them that opportunity. So that is the plan and approach. I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions or concerns. Ron, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But my concern would be, let's say we have 3 great candidates for president.
Okay.
And then you take all the nominations for vice president, and then we close nominations. Now, 2 of the 3 who lost the presidency are not available for vice president. Can we stagger it so that, at least for the general officer's position, that we would do them, let's say, in order
Yeah,
so
that sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
yeah, I'd hate to lose a talented person
I-
because we closed out nominations.
I think that's a great point. That's a great point. So then why don't we go through the officers seriatim and then maybe do the sports committee chairs in more of a hunk. Is that okay with people? I'm not going to call for a motion on this. We're just, again, Bobby's rules of order. Okay. So,
Could you do the chairs first? In case there's somebody with the chairs. that
we have a couple of gaps with the chairs. So I think, so we only have one contested chair election right now. So I don't, so why don't we do this? Let's get nominations.
But you don't have.
Yeah. So we're going to go down to officers. What's your concern, Alex, on that?
If someone loses something from a chair, they may want to still help out with the board or one of the other positions. And I think the chairs are relatively simple to go through. That way, if someone loses a chair election, they want
Okay. So I think what we're going to do to make it simple is let me go through this a little bit differently. Let me go through office by office. We'll do president if there's need to have and then we'll see where we have contested elections and where we don't, and we'll just go down the attempt here. So we'll see if we can still get out by 6. Okay. So president, I am self-nominated to run again. Is there a motion to put me on the ballot?
Second.
Okay. So, any other nominations for president?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Are people comfortable having a vote then, or no? When do we?
I make a motion when we have only one person running for a position, the secretary casts one vote, and we don't have to poll everybody in the crowd.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We don't have a secretary.
I'll pick, because I trust them completely. I recommend Justin will vote for everybody and fill in that position.
Second on that? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. So does Justin have to vote now?
Justin will fulfill the role of secretary and cast one vote for everyone who is unopposed.
At the end of the
That part only.
Let me next go to vice president. We had 3 nominations ahead of this meeting. Maggie Fox, Greater Boston Track Club, she is not here. She was serving as our secretary. She has been ill, as people know. That's torn muscle disease, which I can't remember the name of. Thank you. Barbara Hamilton, Boston United, who has been a great help with us in all our cross-country work over the years, and Larry Lebo, Mass Velocity from Springfield, who has been on this board before. So do I have a motion for those 3 to be on the ballot?
Move to accept that, like, you know.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Do we have any other nominations for vice president? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So treasurer. Treasurer, we have no nominations right now. Do we have any nominations for treasurer? Okay. We almost had a nomination. We were close. Any nominations for treasurer? Again, we're going to, for offices where there's no nominations, we are going to come back to them later. Okay. I'm going to skip secretary for now. Men's long distance running. Scott Mendel, incumbent. Would someone, maybe Sasha? Yes, Jim.
Historically, we've done president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, because the bylaws say the officers are done in one fell swoop and the board chairs in another meeting.
I don't know what the bylaws.
Well, we put them together, we know, but either way, we typically done president, vice president, secretary. And
I was trying to fit Alex's desire so that people who had potentially, because we will have, there are 2 secretary candidates, so I'm trying to make an opportunity that one of those candidates could run for something else. If we want to get, why don't we get nominations for secretary out on the table, and then, but I'm not going to, unless there's a groundswell to vote for that now, I would like to get through these, see what we have, and then have those people talk. So, which is basically what Alex, I think, was trying to get at. Jim, are you planning to run for one of these positions? Okay. So I want everybody to, I'm trying to come up with ways that everyone can run for this. We need more people interested to be on the board, so I'm trying to optimize that. So, for secretary, we had 2 nominations. Stephen Pekakonis, our current treasurer, has been term limited out unless no one runs for treasurer, and then he can run again. And we have no candidates for treasurer. And Courtney Bonsi, who's right there, who's a coach at Regis. Do I have a motion to put them on the ballot?
Point of information, Stephen, if no one is nominated for treasurer, would you choose to stay as treasurer and withdraw as secretary?
No.
So you want to run for secretary
Yeah.
regardless?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's sick of me asking him for stuff. I can't blame the guy. But thank you, Rob, for that point of information. That's important.
we accept that later.
Do we? Yes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Actually, I have a question. Is Courtney a USATF member?
Not currently.
Okay. So to run, you have to be a USATF member prior to this election. So Courtney, unfortunately you're not eligible to run. Stephen, do we have any other nominations for secretary?
Nominations be closed.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Men's long distance running. Scott, I wonder if Sasha might nominate you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Second, all in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Anyone else running for men's long distance running? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Women's long distance running. There were no candidates.
I nominate Amanda Waters.
Amanda Waters. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Any other nominations for women's long distance running? All in favor? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Masters long distance running. So someone move their arm. This is another office where we have no nominations at the current time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll nominate myself.
I nominate Steve Davis.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so just so you know, we do have a contested cross-country election, and Mike McGrain, if he lost cross-country, would run for Masters. So I'm going to hold off. Mike McGrain, who's our cross-country chair, would run for that position. So basically, the point of information you asked before, I have the answer to that. So I would like to put that election to the side and do cross-country first. Are you okay with that, Pete?
I'm okay.
Okay, great. Okay. Let's go to open track and field. Jeff Rockwood is nominated and is the incumbent. I have a motion for Jeff's nomination.
I nominate Jeff.
Second? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Anyone else for open track and field?
Close nomination.
Second? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Masters track and field incumbent Mike Travers. Motion?
Nominate Mike Travers.
Thank you, John. Second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I'm going to skip cross country. Mutt, Paul Kirsch, any incumbent?
Nominate Paul Kirsch.
Second? In favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Any other nominations for Mountain Ultra Trail? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? By the way, Paul's done a fantastic job. We just hosted the 50K Nationals, and our MUP program is really great. I have nothing to do with that, so Paul does it all. It's great. Race walking. Our secretary of the day, Justin Coe, is the current incumbent. We'd like to
Justin Coe.
Thank you.
Second.
Favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Anyone else?
I'd like to make a motion that Justin be given the title of perpetuity.
Is that like a trick question for him? Or?
But he's the longest term
I-
chair running, it is, I think.
I would like to make a motion. I will build on that, though, a slightly different motion. I think it would be great to have a motion to thank Justin for everything he does. Besides race walking, the amount of time he puts in our office, at meetings, etc., is really amazing. He is really the secret glue that keeps this thing going. So I'd like a motion to thank Justin for all his extra work. Second. All in favor? Does that also mean I have a motion to close nominations on race walking? Yeah. Okay, second. All in favor? Great, thanks. Youth athletics, Alex Ivanoff, who has served multiple years in that position. Do I have a motion for Alex? Second. All in favor? Okay, opposed. Any other nominations for youth athletics? Second. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay. So cross country, so that leaves us with two offices. So cross country, which I'd like to do first, that's Mike McGrain, who's not here. I have a video from Mike, okay, which I will play. And Chris Formo, who is here. I'd like a motion to put them both on the ballot. Second? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Is there anyone else who'd like to be nominated for cross-country chair? Motion to close? Nomination? Second? All in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, so, Chris, where are you? Chris, do you want to come up? Sure. So I'll give, since you were here, I'll give you the choice. I have not looked at, Amanda, you're here, so I have the video on my computer. It took me half an hour to get these 6 cruddy slides up there, so so I think So it's your call. Would you like to go first for 2 minutes, or would you like
No,
to
show the video.
show the video first?
I barely know how to use my cell phone.
Okay, so so let me. So this video. I have to get it on this computer. I won't be able to plug it in. Here we go.
Hello, good evening. Those that don't, my name is Michael Gray. I'm the current cross-country chairperson. I wanted to send a short video to as an introduction, as I could not be at the meeting today. I'm currently in Buffalo, New York for the Masters Cross Country Championships. To give you a short introduction, I am the BA running club coach, and I have been for the past 5 years. I am also a head coach at LaSalle College in Newton, Mass. For both track and field and cross country. I've been very active with USATF since 2001, and I'm currently focused on cross-country this season, so I'm going to do as many cross-country meets as I can. I've been to Club Nationals the past 4 years, and plan to be in Spokane again this year to both as a coach and to compete if I can. My goal with USATF cross-country is to continue to work to grow the participation, mostly with new members and also with the youth area. I would appreciate your vote, and I hope that I can continue on to develop the program over the next few years. Thank you.
No idea how to get rid of the traffic cone. Okay, so
I think you unplug everything.
okay, good.
Just quick introduction.
You feel free to take the photo.
I'm Christopher Wargo. I'm a proud member of HFC Striders, and I'm honored to run for our cross-country chair. A lot of you probably don't know me because I'm not a great runner, not a very good runner, and maybe I never was. But I have a passion for running, and especially I have a passion for club running. And to me, there's no better example of club running than cross-country. And I support cross-country through the series, my club does, and I think I can bring that passion and focus to the cross-country chair position. You know, while I've been running, I got back to running 7-8 years ago. I've had a lot of other organizational successes. I think I can bring that through best practices and calling upon the vast wealth of resources and competence and expertise that's out there, and reestablish the cross-country committee. And most importantly is to establish cross-country as a priority, not just in USATF does, but in the club does. I mean, it comes from the top. We have to show people that cross-country is important to us. So we need to get our series out there early. January, February, we need to be committed to that race series so that clubs can put that on their race series calendar, and we can build from that. But there's plenty of expertise out there, and again, while I am not going to finish first in the cross-country races or the cross-country series, I hope the clubs will come back and will endorse this series. I am currently and have been chair or one of the race co-directors for Wayland Cross Country for a while, and it's been great. We get almost 400 kids there. We get over 200 people in the open, mostly through USATF. And I think I can use that as an example to grow other club races and give them the support. USATF, and especially the chair, needs to be there supporting the clubs in these races. So again, I bring a passion and focus to this, and I hope that I can have your support.
I apologize for not knowing. HFC is
Hurting for certain striders.
I'm sorry?
Hurting for certain, striving.
And you're located out of what area?
We run out of Norwood, Westwood. Our workouts are at
Thank you.
Severian Brothers High School. And afterwards, we go to Lewis's bar.
So what I'd like to do is run this election now. So Steve, if you can hand out the ballots. Oh, Justin, our secretary.
Just one person in the final list isn't a member, so
What?
there's one person in the final list is not a member, so I want to just say it without.
Okay, well, we'll make sure. Okay.
No one else leaves.
Yeah, okay. So I would ask here that anyone who is not a member of USATF do not take a ballot here. So I know we have one who's not currently a member. Anyone else who's not currently a member, please don't take a ballot. Thank you. I'll take one. Just write the name again, Mike McGray and Chris Wargo.
Or Steve, maybe just use the board here.
Okay, so here. So let me just see if I can get it on one next one.
No, I'm going to wait for your time.
Collecting? Justin and Bob will collect and will and count. In the meantime, and Tommy. Okay?
Actually, I can text you.
So, as we're counting, Rebecca Breslow is going to come up and do her sports medicine presentation, and then we will come back to Masters, LDR, and Treasurer.
Anybody else?
Any other ballots?
My name is Rebecca Breslow, for those of you who I haven't met yet. I am a sports medicine physician at Brigham and Women's Hospital, and I also serve on the Sports Medicine and Science Committee for USA Track and Field. And I have the great privilege to actually be a part of the national team medical staff this year. I traveled with our junior national team to IAAF World Junior Championships in Finland in July, and we won 18 medals and we won the competition. So it was a fantastic experience. And came back from that experience with a renewed interest in not only supporting our national team, but also trying to support our New England USATF community as well. So I just wanted to tell you about a couple of initiatives that I'd like to spearhead in collaboration with USATF New England. One thing that came up at last year's annual meeting in Columbus when the Sports Medicine and Science Committee met was that there's really a need to form networks of healthcare providers with an interest and expertise in taking care of track and field athletes, running athletes. And so what I would really like to do with your help is start to build that network and get recommendations from you all of healthcare providers who have worked with you or have worked with your athletes, and then compile a database that I can then make available to USATF New England members so that when people need care, they know which healthcare providers to go to who have the interest and expertise care of athletes with their specific issues. So I'm thinking about not only physicians, but physical therapists, chiropractors, athletic trainers, massage therapists, acupuncturists, because I also think it's really helpful to take a multidisciplinary approach to the health and wellness of our athletes. So on the back table over there, I did put a letter basically outlining what I just said, but if anybody didn't grab it, I have some extra copies here that I can just hopefully can just pass around. And it has my contact information. So if any of you have a healthcare provider that you think of, who you think might be interested in being part of this network, you can write it on this letter and give it back to me today, or you can either email or call me. I have my contact information on the letter, or you can pass it along to a healthcare provider that you've worked with, and they make their own decision as to whether or not they want to be contacted by me. But hopefully over the next few months, I can put together a database for you all so that you can have that available on the resource. So that was one thing I wanted to tell you about. The other thing is I've been speaking with Chris's views about potentially doing an educational program on a topic or several topics of interest to USATF New England members. So if anybody has any topics they have a burning desire to hear about, myself, my colleagues from the Division of Sports Medicine at Brigham and Women's Hospital would be very happy to put together a program to educate you if there's anything you want to know more about in the realm of health and wellness for athletes. Also, we are very willing to come, be more informal and come to your club or your group or your school. Again, my contact information is on the letter I sent out, and also I left some cards in the back. So if anybody wants and is interested in that kind of educational program, just let me know. We can organize it. And then the last thing I wanted to tell you all about is one thing of personal research interests me, and I'm actually thinking it might be to too, is I'm putting together a registry of masters, athletes, and runners. And basically the purpose is to collect injury data, lab and imaging data, medical history, and other clinically relevant information from competitive masters, track and field athletes, road race athletes, trail race athletes, or ultra marathoners. Participation would be completely voluntary, but the purpose would really be to generate research ideas that are specific to this group, also potentially used clinically for health-related initiatives specific to this group. And so I'm hoping to collaborate with USATF New England, maybe do some recruiting at some of the events. So if any of you are masters athletes or work with masters athletes, that's something that I have in the pipeline that I think would be a really rich area for research and clinical initiatives. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking about. And again, I'm happy to be contacted if you have any ideas in the sports medicine realm that I can collaborate with you all on.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, so back to our elections. We have a couple more to go. So for cross country, Mike had 22 votes, Chris had 25 votes. So Chris, you are we have 3 more offices in theory to go through. So I want to do masters long distance running next, and then we'll get to our athlete reps, and then we'll get back to treasurer. So, so masters long distance running, we have a nomination for Steve. Do we have any other nominations? Mike did say he wanted to be nominated for this if he did not win cross country. So do I have a second for that?
I'll nominate Mike.
Okay, second? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so any other nominations for masters LDR? Okay, So, Mike, you already saw his video, but Amanda is here. So Amanda, do you want to say a few words about Mike's interest in this position?
Sure.
Sure, come on up.
So I am Amanda Waters, and I'm Michael McGreen's wife. And he has been our long distance runner for a long time. And I think his main thing is that he's really interested in continuing to work with USATF and continuing to grow the organization and interest in it, and in whatever capacity he's able to. He's gone to all of the Grand Prix events. Well, I shouldn't say all. As many as he's been able to go to. As one of his athletes, he's really trying to get the BAA athletes to participate. So I think he's a great person in that.
Thanks, Amanda. Steve?
As you learned earlier, I'm a former president of the USATF. I'm also the state representative for Road Runners Club of America, which is a major road running organization. And as you can see, I'm also a long-distance runner. The past three occupants of this role have chosen not to go to annual meetings, and I've been the designated party to attend the massive long-distance running meetings, and have developed very close relationships with people on that committee, to the degree that a year ago the outgoing chair asked me to be the representative for that committee on the National Committee of Law and Legislation. I would love to have you vote. I hope you'll consider me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Two great candidates for that position. Can we hand out ballots? These ballots are orange. We're going different colors. These are orange ballots. You can turn it a yellow ballot if you want, but we're going to count the orange ones.
Anybody else need a vote? Yes.
Anybody else need one? Thank you. Good. Anybody else?
So as we're waiting, as we wait to do this count, I'm going to do a couple things. First, we will finish with athletes rep. So that will be our final election for officers. Then we will do annual meeting as well. In the meantime, a couple other things to note. Does anyone want me to go through the NFL scores while we're waiting? Oh, treasurer, yes. If anybody we're going to get to treasurer at the end. It's on my list. So if anybody here is now thinking about treasurer, Stephen is here. This would be a good time to talk to him. The job is, Stephen's done a great job setting up all the systems. This is, a real plug and play job. It's important. You don't run checks every week like the old days. You run them in batches, and there's a couple of times in the year where there's big batches. You have a very good accountant that helps. So if anyone here has a financial background and is interested in it, again, the work that Stephen's done has really set it up so that it's an easier job to do. Stephen's going to be on the board, so that I'm sure he would help you with any transition. So I will ask at the end of these two elections for someone, if there's anyone who hasn't won something, see if they're interested, because it is an important function. NFL scores, anyone care? Yes? No? Yes, okay, here we go. So let's see what we got here. Well, this game was really good. Tennessee 9, Jacksonville 6. So we missed that one by being here. Sorry, gang. New Orleans 47, Atlanta. New Orleans 43, Atlanta 37. Going to be Oakland 28-20. Washington beat Green Bay 31-17. China beat Houston 27-22. My dad will be very happy when I see him later tonight. Philly 20-16 over Indy. Baltimore 27-14 over Denver. Buffalo 27-6. Who would have thought over Minnesota. Carolina 31, Cincinnati 21. Kansas City 38. Jimmy G 27-7. And the other game, Rams beating the Chargers at halftime. Arizona's up as well. So, we have an answer. Here we go. For Masters, Steve has 34, Mike has 13, so Steve has one Master. Okay, so let's move to athletes rep. We have two people, two of our incumbents have self-nominated. Alex Engel and Sarah Thornton. Motion for them to be on the ballot. So second. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Anyone else interested in athletes rep? There are 3 slots for athletes rep.
Point of information.
Yes.
Since we have a huge number of youth athletes who technically cannot run because of their age, could we perhaps nominate a youth club coach as an athlete's rep to represent the youth? I mean, I don't think there's necessarily nomination.
Yeah, you're just representing. There's nothing in our bylaws which says you have that's specific.
So that's what I thought. So my question is,
National bylaws require.
National bylaws require. Okay.
why? Was that
During my high school season,
but to be a voice on the board, I mean, you wouldn't have to be at every meeting. No one better than Joe?
I'm going to pass on it for now. In the future.
I'll nominate Stephanie Schneider.
Yeah, I'm just reading the bylaws here. A second, Stephanie Schneider.
Second.
Chris? if there's nothing mentioned in local bylaws, it has to revert to the national. And national says you must be an athlete. You're not an athlete, representative of athletes. You're an athlete who is a representative.
Okay.
You must be an
But
athlete.
Joe has passed on running, so. So Stephanie? You're an athlete?
Are you registered with USATF as an athlete?
Yes.
Somebody describe what the role entails.
Yeah, the athlete's rep is responsibility, let me read it in the bylaws, Steve just took my copy. But let me see, let me read to you what the athlete's rep does. I can find it here, in this copy. Can you just, try to test it. Steve, do you have the athlete's rep? Can you read that? Yeah. Athlete's rep. Okay. So here is the description of athlete's rep, everybody. It is an active, competitive athlete to serve as a liaison between athletes, events, and the association. This is someone who is expected to attend the championships in the association. Okay. So Amanda, does Mike have any interest in running for the office? I mean, only going for 2 right now, but you know. Third time's the charm. Okay, Mike McGrain. Second? Okay. Mike, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Jim?
I'd like to nominate Bart Reader.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mark Reader.
R-E-E-D-E-R.
Good.
That guy over there.
Okay, good.
With the whole.
Fabulous, thank you. Anyone else?
How many positions are open?
There are 3 positions, we now have 4 people. 4 people. Four people. Alex, Sarah, Mike, and Mike. Okay. Motion.
I'd like to nominate Dave Kessler.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor? Okay. Dave, you're on the Kessler, D-E-S-S-L-E-R?
Yes, Z.
D-E-F-D-L-E-R. Sorry, Sarah. Make sure your tap alerts are going on.
Chris, could we have all of those nominees speak so that
We
everybody knows?
will,
that-
when the nominations are closed.
Thank you.
They're not closed. Do we have any other nominations? A motion to close the nominations.
Motion to close.
Mark Reader.
Sorry. Any second to close the nominations?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So I'm going to ask for athletes rep. I'd ask everyone to come and speak for 1 minute. I'm going to ask the incumbents to speak first. So Alex, you're up first, then Sarah. Amanda, if you want to speak, that's fine, and then Mark and Dave.
So I was on the board the past year. I run for Boston Olympic Track Club as a 400, 800 meter runner. I attended all the board meetings last year. I volunteered at our championship events, and my goal is to represent the shorter distances. I think we're pretty well represented from longer stuff, so my goal is to represent the shorter distances. Thank you.
Sarah?
Last year as an athlete rep. I am a sub-elite discus thrower. I'm training here in New England, which is so much fun in winter time. But I've been able to compete at 3 national championships and Olympic trials, 2 indoor national championships. I want to represent the sub-elite athletes, throwers, field event athletes, someone that can help be that liaison for people that are coming out of college trying to figure out what to do post-collegiate. And I feel like that's kind of needed, especially in this wintry area where people go, where do I go, what do I do, how do I get there? That's what I was talking about.
You've already seen Michael's video. He is a athlete as well. He's for cross country and many of the road races and events and helpful.
We have some people that Mike did attend all board meetings last year. Mark?
Hi, my name is Mark Reeder. I run for Greater Lowell. I've been a member of USATF and a master's runner since 2011. I go to most of the Grand Prix races and the cross-country races, and I built a lot of friendships over the years, especially with athletes. And my wife runs for Liberty, so I have a connection there. My greatest qualification is that I'm really good friends with John Barber.
Dave Trussell, I compete for the operational striders. They're probably more representatives of Weston track coaching with Joe on that team. Competed indoor season, competed in the cross country races, but we probably end up representing youth that don't have a voice as well as the trying to say bring back the mile and work on the shorter distance indoor races as well. I think of entry points for masters participation in this sport.
As I hand out ballots, these ballots are going to be green. Everyone should vote for 3 candidates.
Anybody else need a belt?
Oh, sorry. I had to
Can I get a ballot? Can I get a ballot?
Yeah, no, I was there.
a short one.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Before the vote counters leave the room, okay? Can I get everyone's attention? Before the vote counters leave the room, according to our bylaws for the office of President and Treasurer, in this circumstance, it requires a free nomination, okay? And the person has to be meet certain, basically certain requirements that they're good at finance. So, unfortunately, based on this, we can't just take a nomination from the floor. It has to go to the board. So what I would like to do is a nomination to authorize the board to select a treasurer for the next year. And I would like a motion for that, following a motion that the board recruit and select a treasurer to serve for the next year, fitting with the requirements under the bylaws.
So, second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. So, next, a couple things of note. For new board members, and there may be a couple others. So, we're going to count now, and then we'll do the annual meeting election. So all the board members must do the following, okay? Get a USATF background screening. So some of you have it, some of you don't. That's something you have to be part of the board. It's in the bylaws. Secondly, you must complete safe sport. That is also in the bylaws. Third, we have a conflict of interest statement. That you can get at the first board meeting. You must complete that to be able to vote. To be in the flow, obviously, Justin sets up all the email addresses, but you can email, for those who win offices, please email me. That's cpasco, C-P-A-S-K-O, @usatfne.org with your contact info, name, phone number, email. That will allow us to onboard, Justin to onboard you. So, Steve will send out some links and some info as well, but please get that information sooner the better. Board meetings take place typically, not all the time, but typically the first Monday of every month from 6:30 to 8 at our offices in Brighton. For the first, we will, as I've done before, I will host a dinner for the board, since there's a big turnover. I didn't do it last year, but I did do it 2 years ago. I will host that. That may be part of our first board meeting. That may be separate from the first board meeting. It just depends on the timing. But I do think it's important for the board to get together and do that. So that is something that I will get you information on as well. So it will probably take them 5 or 10 minutes to count these ballots. The next step after this will be for voting for to have our vote for representatives for the annual meeting. So we do have a ballot which Steve will hand out. One of the things, all three of the guys who are counting are already on this ballot. So so let me explain to you what this is. We this year see that 18 slots. Is that correct? We have 18 slots for the annual meeting, and that is a 4-day meeting. It's a great way to get to know the organization. It is a working session. When you go, you're assigned to a committee. You will have votes on that committee. You are expected to write a report back. If you don't write your report back, you do not get reimbursed. And this year, we've been kind of nice on deadlines. This year, we're not going to be nice on the deadlines. Like the cost is covered, although most people end up having to go out of pocket for a little bit. Your food isn't covered, but your attendance is covered, etc. So this is something that for new board members who may or may not know who they are yet, it is worth attending. I think it's actually important to attend. As Steve mentioned, Steve Villegas mentioned, he's attended in place of other board members. And so we have to have votes in all these committees. This is going to be a very, very important annual meeting, because at this annual meeting there are lots of offices up for grabs. So there's a lot of voting to be done. As we know, our president, Vin Lanata, has been suspended. I'm not going to comment on whether that was good or not, but we are currently president-less. So that is a challenge for the organization. There's lots of other offices coming up, and then there's obviously the great work that the organization does that needs to move forward. So it's a very important annual meeting. Since we are counting and these ballots, and several people might be on the board that weren't before, I'm going to hold off in terms of accepting nominations until we know, in fact, who is finally on the board. That will be 5 minutes. But does anyone have any questions on the annual meeting? Because what we're going to do on those is we'll take nominations to add to the ballot, okay, and then we'll vote. We will not, and once you voted for that, we're done. We will send those results out. It's a very long counting exercise. We also, by rule, have to have certain people meet certain requirements. We have to have so many people who are classified as athletes, so many people classified as officials, et cetera, et cetera. We usually, with the people who make the first cut, usually satisfy the rules. We have one extra delegate this year because we crossed over 6,000 people. Last year we missed by 8 or 9, but this year we're over. So that's annual meeting. It is in Columbus, Ohio. It is, I'd say, the first week in December, but it's really the last week in November, whatever those dates are. Most of the meeting is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some people arrive on Wednesday for workshops, related around youth and associations over Wednesday. Things really get going in earnest on Thursday, and I will pull up my calendar to give people the dates so that they can think about it. But I recommend it, especially if you're a new board member. I think it's very important that you're there. It's in Columbus, Ohio. So let me give you the dates. So 29th is the Thursday, 30th is the Friday, 1st is the Saturday, Sunday is the 2nd, and that's usually done by 10. This could be a crazy year, but somewhere between 10 and 12. Yeah, definitely.
Regarding one of the games on here, Dave Weston?
Yes. Dave is still he owns property and he's still a member of our association.
He is.
Yes. So that is, Dave Watkins was the former track and field chair. He currently has two jobs. Well, his most important job, he was called up for National Guard duty, so he's posted in Washington. So that is what he is actually doing. But his house is still here. He was coming to this meeting, but he did not make it. But Dave is still a member of our association. Steve, do you have a ballot? Because I'm going to read off everybody's name who's on the ballot so that people know a little bit about them. So I'm going to kind of front load all this so that when they come back in, we can just go to the front. So Katie Adams, Head of Coaching Education. Coaching Education and Head of Officials by our bylaws are things that I appoint. So, and I will tell everyone, if Katie and Lori still want to do it, love to have them, because they've been super awesome. Lori, Officials Chair, Lori with Ron, absolute all-stars and Hall of Famers, won awards at the Jesse Owens Banquet a couple years ago. It was great. Tom Nazarian has President Maggie Fox, now one of our VPs. Bob is doing the vote counting official. Justin, we all know. Scott, John Oleski. John was a VP on the board, Focus, Master Track and Field now. Myself, Stephen, who was treasurer, now secretary. Jeff, head of Track and Field. Sarah, who's running for Athletes Rep. Mike Travers, Master Track and Field. Steve Villegas, who just joined the board again, rejoined Dave Watkins, who works for his other job is Trackdown USA, working for that. So let me tell you who's won. In order, Alex with 42 votes, Sarah with 40 votes, then really close, Dave beat Mike by 2 votes for the third spot. So congratulations.
Can you repeat those, please?
Yeah, so I will go through the votes. Alex 42, Sarah 40, Dave 22, Mike 20, Mark 13. Okay, so that is the last election. I want to thank everyone for running. I know Mike did win. Mike's done an amazing job on our board. It's going to be a shame to lose all the time because he, besides his work on cross country, he's done a lot of great things. And Mark, I appreciate you running. Sorry it didn't work out. I would ask you guys, again, if you have a financial background and you're interested, we'd love to have you on the board. Contact me on the treasurer. Again, I don't know your background, but let me know. So with that, do I have a motion? We have 16 people on this delegate ballot. So do I have a motion to put these people forward? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So now I'd like to take nominations from the floor to fill this in. I will type these in.
We'll see if you have to first.
Good point. Well, I will type because otherwise I will forget if we get 1 or 2. But again, we have 2 more spots beyond this, and we may or may not need to do a vote. We have 19 people who have to do a vote. We have 18 or less. As Ron correctly pointed out, we will not have to do a vote. But I will type the names of anyone who's a new board member. You should be thinking about this, and anybody else who might be interested. Tom.
Yeah, I'd like to nominate our new cross-country chair, Chris Marlowe.
Okay.
He's available to do that.
Okay, great. Chris, a second for Chris?
Second.
Great. I'll say the all in favor at the end. Anyone? Yes.
I'd like to nominate myself, Larry Lebo, who's Vice President, area coaching.
Okay. Larry, thank you.
Second.
Great. Anyone else? Columbus?
Great town.
It's a great town. I like it. I have a lot of relatives in Columbus. I enjoy going there. If you like, there's a lot of great restaurants actually in Columbus. Okay. Before I vote on the motion, yes, Amanda. Yes, Amanda. You can nominate yourself, Amanda. Okay. Anyone else? Motion to close, Dave. Nothing else, Barbara. Anyone else? No. Okay. Do I have a, you made a motion to close? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So this is the ballot. If for people, I presume everyone has pens or access to a pen. So if you could fill in these names, 17, 18, and 19, and then vote. And then once that.
You could keep them in the same order there, though.
Yes, yeah, so those are their numbers. We'll make, so just write those names in, even if you're not voting for them. And then cast your vote. You can vote for up to 18 people. You do not have to vote for 18. But if you vote for all 19 people, we will draw your ballot.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Did you speak to David Watkins to make sure that he was actually interested?
I have spoken to David several times, and he says,
And I've spoken to him.
yeah, and he called me specifically, he called Steve and wrote it to me. So he's followed the procedures to be on the ballot. And then we double checked whether he was eligible. He is technically eligible.
Can we assume that the 19th person will be available?
Yeah, so let me give a brief the brief reality of what actually happens. We will vote, and there will be a 19th person. In my 2 years here, we have gone to our, I hate to use the term wait list, but we've gone deep into our wait list every year. There are several other people who actually, from this association, Kathy's a great example, who has Kathy Neary has a very high position on one of the committees. She goes every year. Every year I've had to call Kathy and say, hey, listen, you need to vote because we're short. So what typically happens, last year we had 17. We probably had 20, 21 on the vote. We ranked them. We ended up going all the way to number 21. We couldn't fill our 17 slots. So we ended up probably paying for 15. And then Kathy and I think we grabbed one other person. Because there's other New England people there who could vote for us and just are paying for themselves. Because they're getting reimbursed from some other committees. Yes,
Can I make a motion that we accept and fund all 19 positions? And if all 19 choose to go, we still have that person go as non-voting, but look out for New England interest. And that way we don't, and then should there be 19, the board be empowered to determine which 18 will be official.
Well, I think this determines which 18 are official.
Not as my motion.
Well, Ron, is that 2 motions or 1 motion?
I don't think you can take a motion to override a ballot.
So I think, Ron, your 2 motions. One, that we pay for 19 these 19 people, if they're willing to go. And then the other is who votes. I think the who votes probably should go on this, in my view. But I'm very open to the motion that all 19 are paid for. Because I know that at the end it will be 15 or 16.
Could we amend your motion to say that this determines the 18 and still fund all 19?
Yeah, I mean,
I would accept that with the amended motion. I will second.
you could vote.
Ron, are you fine with that as a second?
No, if that makes them happy, we'll just vote.
Okay. All in favor of that motion? All in favor. So you have a second. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? How many? Okay. Let's count the ayes then. Ayes. Hands, please. So I'll count the noes. This is going to win. Noes. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep your hand up. So,
And point of information, we just voted to fund the 19 who declare. If we get down below that and somebody else wants to go as number 19, they are not funded. It has to be all 19 of these to allow the extra person to get funded.
yeah. Now, if we are at, yes, correct. If we're at 17, then we'll fund to 18.
Right.
But we're not going to fund to 19. It has to go, unless it's these 19 people. And I don't think that's ever happened. Someone has, work thing, get sick, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Great. So, yeah. The board votes on that. The board, the funding is typically, we look at airfare, and we look for basically the cheapest airfare. So everybody, we're still going here for another minute. So we take the cheapest airfare, the meat hotel, the meat price divided by 2, so you have to share a room. The bus, or the kind of cheap transport from the airport, we don't pay for a cab. And so...
And the 225 registration.
Yeah, and the 225. So Stephen, last year that was...
800.
Yeah, 800.
Yeah, we could leave it
And
there.
Stephen does an incredible spreadsheet, and so there's some people who get, like if you max out, like if you took a cab instead of the bus, and you're still under 800, you won't get that extra money, right? You basically, it's 800, but there's a max in a series of 5 categories. So most people don't get to 800. Most people top out 7.
Anybody else?
And last year we reimbursed probably 14 or 15 people.
Yeah, so anyway, we sort of been doing that for in-house, but we've been staying in the same general $800.
Yeah. Because, Columbus is a cheaper, Columbus versus Orlando, like, each city's a little bit different. Columbus is pretty cheap to go to. One of the reasons why they're doing it. Like, the hotel is yeah, so, like, I think the number for Columbus is less than the number for Orlando.
Yeah, we're definitely not lower than last year.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second. Okay. Again, see you next year, but feel free to email me.